Yo, what we gonna do is bring a very special guest to the show because he's on the telephone right now. And rather than make a big introduction, hey, yo, Mr. Superstar, why don't you tell the people who is on my telephone right now?
Yo, this is boy Mr. Vegas, and after that, right here, got a lock to DJ Dred-E-Maximum, you know, so right now we got a lock to the drill spot. Turn it up loud. I know some blessing, Father God blessing. Dred-E, you're blessed. Turn it up.
What on, Mr. Vegas? You good?
Yo, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thanks for, having me on the program.
Ladies and gentlemen, right about now on the Drill Squad Mix Show has got to be the dancehall and reggae superstar known as Mr. Vegas. Happy 2016, sir.
Yeah, man. Same to you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Everything in one.
Mr. Vegas, how long have you been in the game now?
Well, I got my break in 1997, when I came out with Nike here and Heads High and then tracks, so it's like 17 years professionally.
I am listening to songs from the new Mr. Vegas album, and I mean, what can I say other than the fact that these people out here in Radio Land need to run out, go get that, go to the iTunes, go get that. Mr. Vegas, tell them the name of the album that they need to buy right now.
This album is Lovers Rock and Soul. It's a Lovers Rock album. It's covers of some classic, and an original, reggae Lovers Rock beats, Studio One vibe.
Tell the people why this album is so special this time around.
It's just an album that is close to me. Some of the songs that is on this album, are songs that I basically grew up, performing on sound systems. Songs I grew up listening to, songs I know that people grew up listening to. So it's like take me back to, where I started in music, just singing like cover songs on original, reggae beats on sound systems. And, that this is the line where, I got my first, little fans, and the girls that used to come around and like the way I sing and stuff like that.
Okay, and which producers are you using this time around?
Well, it's myself, of course, Clevie from, Steven Clevie, that gave us the best, dancehall in the 80s, 90s. It's just a collective effort between myself and Clevie. And we got musicians in there like Lenky and all of those people.
What about collaborations? You didn't really do a lot of that this time around, did you?
We've been doing a lot of collaboration because, as I say, it's a cover album. It's basically personal to me, and I know it's going to be like people that really enjoy, this type of music. Just want to hear Mr. Vegas in a different vibe. We have one artist that I work, do work with at times. His name is Natel on one of the songs called "Someone to Love," because that song was a duet by Babyface and John B.
Mr. Vegas, what has the music industry taught you about life?
Well, the music industry basically just let you appreciate, where you're at and how far, me as a person has come, I just think, it takes us around the world and show us, we get to see, into different cultures and stuff like that and see how people are living. And sometimes we're just grateful, most times, it's just, being grateful, for where we're at and what we're able to achieve, in terms of what the music has done for us.
Do you remember the first time that you knew as a young man that you wanted to sing in the music industry?
When I was a kid, just the fact that I used my voice, because I did not grow up, I grew up really poor, so I did not grow up with, parents that would, afford certain things like shoes and stuff like that for me to wear to school and, all that stuff. So basically, I think when I discovered that I could sing and started singing for the ladies the girls at school, then I just was like, yeah, I would love to be a star, And then you start looking at people like Barrington Levy and Tennessee, Sanchez and these artists, then you wanted to be like them.
Okay, let's talk personal achievements. Do you have a story for us regarding something that you have accomplished that maybe the fans don't know about it, or if they do know about it, maybe they tend to overlook it?
I think working with Beyonce, is one of my top moment in my career. I just think she's like one of the the biggest artists on the planet, and just the fact that I could be able to collaborate with her on Standing on the Sun, and it was included on her platinum album. It just something that I cherish. The opportunity.
Working with Beyonce. Wow. Okay, so what is the experience like working with a high caliber artist like her?
It's great. She's a perfectionist like myself. Even doing the record, the comments that she sent back for us to do over things and to get things right. It was just like I see why she's one of the top artists.
Very few artists just wake up one day and just say, "Yo, I'm gonna be a star," and then it just all unfolds into their lap. Most times it takes a lot to go through the motions and climb and climb and climb. Do you have a story for us that you could tell regarding maybe some of your roadblocks that may be interesting to someone else who may want to make it in the biz?
I don't pay attention to the roadblocks. There may have been a lot of roadblocks, but I just look at myself, and realize how blessed I am to even be here speaking to you on the phone, because there are millions of artists that want to be known worldwide, and very few get the opportunity. So I don't even look at roadblocks or anything like that. I accept that there's going to be negative and positive, because just the fact that we need negative and positive to have light. So I appreciate negativity.
Wow. Okay, so would you say that Mr. Vegas is a spiritual person?
I don't know about as being a spiritual man. I know I'm a God-fearing person. I know I believe in God. I know, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. So I don't know if I'm a spiritual man, because I'm not a hypocrite. You see what I'm saying? I'm not a hypocrite who's going to act overly righteous and oh so holy, and then you're going to see me on a stage the next day singing "Broke It Down." I just try to live, the best way I can. I err, I make mistakes, I sin, so, I'm not this spiritual person that people may expect me to be if I do say I'm, a spiritual, man.
Okay, fair enough. In terms of the music industry, tell us one thing that you really love about it. What do you really love about the music industry?
The fact that you can reach people worldwide, and people, especially these days, people, you get to do something like an MV corner on my Facebook, and then people just get comment, and you see people basically reaching out to you, and you reach out to people. You're able to connect with people, through your music. So it is, and I just like to see people enjoy themselves. I like to entertain people. I like people coming out and enjoying themselves. You know what I'm saying? And for the business side of it, I just love the whole vibe. Like I hope one day I will be able to be like the Puff Daddy or the Jay-Z of dancehall. Where I can have a camp or have a label that that artists look forward to.
So on the flip side of that question, what does Mr. Vegas hate about the music industry?
There's so many things I would love to change. I'm old school. I would love basically. I wish it was like when we try to get the break in music, where there was a process, where a good producer produce good artists. Then maybe we would have less mediocrity. But I understand that we live in an internet era, so I cannot change that. But my ambition, would be just that, just to have a real artist, and not, you don't have to see someone's face, to accept them. Except the person has a great voice, but they're not, like the best looking person. People don't want to hear them or see them. I remember, people used to hear your voice before they even, get the chance to see you. So there are a few things I would love to change. Put talent before, image and all that stuff that's going on these days.
Tell us what inspires Mr. Vegas the most.
Well, no, my kids are a big inspiration because me growing up as a little kid, you know, I have a brother that sings in a group called the Tamlins, and I used to like try to find music with him, or try to tell people about him, or try to see him on TV or listen to him on the radio. So I just think my kids, I know how proud they are, you know, and how, you know, they look at their dad like, yeah man, you know, my dad is Mr. Vegas. So I try to like, you know, stay relevant, and I think that inspires that. I think fans that want to hear good music want music to party to, especially the ladies. And of course, you know, as I said before, the negative people are always, you know, my main driving force, because they make you want to do it over and over again. Because when someone saying you can't do something, it's a rap for you, then you want to put that, you know, it makes the fire just want to burn longer.
Let's talk new school for a second. Who are the relevant artists of today that you as a veteran can listen to and say, you know what, I'm actually a fan of this person?
Well, I listen to everything, you know. I listen to every type of music. So I like The Weeknd. I like his sound. I like his sound a lot. His voice reminds me a little bit of Michael Jackson. You know, and you have reggae artists like Version, the way he's humble and the way he's just going about doing his music. You know, so there are a few, you know, young blood basically. But I'm really an old school type of listener. You know, I appreciate old school big time, because I just think our best is from that era.
See, sometimes to be a fan of music or an artist, it's not enough to just love the music or buy the music. And fans could take it to a whole nother level sometime. As someone who is as high caliber as yourself, are there things about you that you wish the people knew? Or are you the kind of artist to just keep as much privacy as possible?
You see, I'm so open, you know, so I think people know everything about me. You know, I'm trying, maybe I have to find something about myself that they don't know, because, you know, I think, you know, I'm open with my fans, especially on my Facebook. So I think people know a lot about me, or most thing, or everything about me, you know.
Now, when I interview a major star, there's just certain questions that I have to repeat. There's a couple questions that I ask that I literally want the answer from every star, because every star will give me a different answer. This question is one of those. Are there any misconceptions about you? And if so, is there anything you'd like to clear up?
Of course there are. And you know what? If everyone is going to be on your side, you know, then something is wrong. You know? So I do understand. I don't expect everyone to agree with everything that I say. I don't expect everyone to be a fan. I don't expect everyone to like or love Mr. Vegas. You know, so it's a balance, you see what I'm saying? So of course there are misconceptions, but I don't worry about it. I really don't worry about it.
Let's talk about conquering new musical ground. Some artists like to take every opportunity to make an album to move a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right from where they used to be, or even take it to outer space and just do something completely different or completely strange. Whereas other artists, they just want to hit right down the middle. They just want to go as traditional as possible. Is conquering new musical ground for you something that is very important?
Of course, I venture in all different type of sound, you know, soca, reggaeton. You know, like this album is Lovers Rock and Soul. My latest album is not the typical dancehall that people are used to. I, you know, take chances, and I, you know, listen to all different types of music. You know, so if I listen to all different types of music, of course, I'm going to be interested in breaking new grounds. But overall, I just love reggae music, because I think reggae music is just that vibe. When you go into, you know, different culture and people are not even used to reggae music or not familiar with reggae music, you know, just the vibe it gives, you know, to these people, then you can feel the vibe.
When you look at the effect of reggae and dancehall on the planet Earth, and you think about how the music industry moves and how it works, are you pleased with the direction that the music is going in? Are you pleased with the effect that it has present day?
I think we have broken ground with music from Jamaica, you know, in past years. Maybe not so much now, because I think, you know, the kids that are producing now, they more grew up on hip hop music and they're trying to copy what they grew up listening to. That's what they influenced them, kind of hip hop music. So they're kind of trying to blend hip hop music with dancehall music. And I just think that if you're not not everyone can play a hip hop beat for it to sound, like what, Beyonce and Jay-Z and these people and Nicki Minaj is gonna, be putting out. So, I think, we've gone maybe a little bit off track in recent years in terms of what kind of sound we're putting out from Jamaica. And people like Major Lazer, even Justin Bieber the other day, his last hit, Sorry, I think is on a dancehall beat. We see Major Lazer, Lean on Me, on a dancehall beat, Lean On. So, it's just, the direction I think that our music needs to continue in is that sound, because people appreciate that sound.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, we are on the telephone with the one they call Mr. Vegas, the dancehall and reggae music superstar. Mr. Vegas, we are approaching the end of the interview. What kind of advice could you give to a young man or a young woman who listens to you and says, I want to be like Mr. Vegas?
Well, first of all, being like Mr. Vegas is a lot of work, because I'm dedicated to the music. I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't know how to be a carpenter or I don't know how to be a mechanic. And I really love the music. So, to be like Mr. Vegas, it's going to take a lot of dedication, sleepless nights, putting my talent before anything else. Even with me being on my Facebook and talking, sometimes about different things. I think I've put in a lot of work musically over the years, to be able to say these things, Of course, first and foremost, being Mr. Vegas or being like Mr. Vegas, it's going to take a lot of work.
And what are some of the future goals that Mr. Vegas has for himself?
My future goals are basically putting up different sounds, Like now I'm working on an album called Gospel Rock. People may be surprised, the type of music that is going to be on this album, but it's like a whole different vibe. So, and it's not for me to make, a lot of plans like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that 10 years time or 5 years time, because I don't know if I'm going to be here in 5 years time or 10 years time, I just live one day at a time,
And if you could start your whole career all over again, what would you change?
Learning music, learning how to play music. I just think that is very important in every artist's development and career. Because now I feel like if I had known how to play the guitar or the keyboard, that would have been my other relationship. Because it's just a nice vibe when you can sit around, and vibe, and play the piano. And I see, even see people doing it, it makes me a little bit jealous, And just knowing how to do it, just knowing how to do it. Just knowing which key I'm in when I'm on stage, and which key I'm in when I'm in the studio, it's just great. And if I can hear something and say, oh, that is playing in C or that is playing in D,
All right. Closing statements. Plug what you got to plug, Mr. Vegas.
Make sure you go out there and grab Lovers Rock and Soul album. It's a good album basically for you to share with your loved ones. Or download it on iTunes, Amazon, all these platforms, and keep supporting the music.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. I can't believe that the two of us have been in this business for so long, and it's the first time we connected like this. But thank you. Thank you, sir. If you need anything, holla at us, all right?
Yeah, man, most definitely, man.
All right. Bless up, big man.